So if you're wine drunk and ready to cry, Paige, Mikey, and Todd are telling you why. Romancing the podcast in town. Romancing the podcast in town. Romancing the podcast in town. Your favorite films, they'll rip them to shreds with these guys in charge. Hell, romance is dead. Romancing the podcast in town. Romancing the podcast in town. Romancing the podcast in town.
Todd sees you when you're sleeping.
Mike likes to sniff your hair.
Paige is an Ebenezer Scrooge. She just don't give a damn. So listen up now, the show's gonna start. Paige, Mikey, and Todd will steal your heart. Romancing the podcast in town. Romancing the podcast in town. Romancing the podcast in town.
Thank you for tuning into Romancing the Pod. You had us at hello. I'm Paige Wesley.
I'm Mikey Randolph. Merry Christmas.
And I'm Todd Schlosser. Merrier Christmas. And this week, Paige made us watch. No,
it was Mikey.
Mikey made us watch.
I picked this.
Santa Bootcamp.
A Lifetime original film.
And it feels like it. Mikey,
Why did I pick this film?
we all know why you picked this film, because I demanded it.
Because I'm in it. Nepotism. That's why. No, that's not true. I don't know what the word is, but I'm in it, so that's why I picked it.
I think it's called narcissism.
Favoritism.
Yeah, both of those. Well, I'm in it for a good 3-4 seconds
I
at the
saw
end,
you.
wandering around.
I saw you at the end.
I'm dead center.
I saw you
dead
dead center, and I found you with my cursor and took a screenshot of it so I can send it to you guys.
I saw that, yeah.
So last year or the year before, when did I sneak on set of this film?
This filmed August 2022 and came out Christmas of that same year.
Yeah, oh
they
my God.
rushed production and editing of this.
It looks like they filmed this in a week.
They
so
did.
crazy.
They filmed this in a week, literally walking distance from my old office.
Which is funny because it's supposed to be LA, and I have thoughts when we get to me.
I know that Nashville looks way nicer than LA. Hello.
Last summer, I heard that they were filming a Christmas film in Franklin, or like, well, at the business park there. It's basically at a retail strip mall, basically where this film.
It is a retail strip mall.
It's supposed to be the Grove,
Yeah.
which is madness, but I'll talk about it in a bit.
I know, the Grove has never looked so good.
No.
It's not a bad looking retail strip mall. And there's a hotel there that looks like a big house, so I guess that's why they picked it.
Fun fact about that hotel, that's the one night stand hotel.
Oh, shit.
It's in Santa Bootcamp.
Nice. So I went out there and I didn't sign up to be an extra or anything, but then I walked up there and I didn't know. I thought this was not in California because I didn't know anything about Santa Bootcamp.
I'm sorry, did you think that you had been transported to California? I mean, of course it wasn't California. You were in Franklin, Tennessee.
In August, and I was like, I hope I don't have to dress Christmassy because I'm like, it's like real hot.
Oh, yeah.
And so I walked up and I was like, you need some extras? And they're like, yeah, sure, dude, just come on. And so I was like, they're like, go to wardrobe. And wardrobe was like, yeah, you look like a guy who could be in California. So just wear your clothes you're wearing now. And then they're like, what do I do? And they're like, just wander around this yard while we film. And I was there and it poured rain. It delayed production and everything. I was there for hours, but I got to take pictures on Santa's throne and all sorts of stuff.
You sent them to us.
We have to share this.
Yeah, I have all those pictures.
Thank you. Yes.
Okay, so what I realized today or last night, because I watched half of it last night.
That you had never seen this movie.
I had never.
I was texting Mikey and I was like, Mikey, what the fuck is happening? And he's like, I don't know. I'm watching this for the first time.
I couldn't be prouder of how weird this movie is. And I'm so happy that my name is attached to it. I bought it. It's on sale for 99 cents on Amazon Prime.
It is literally in Amazon Prime's bargain bin. And Mikey, I bought it too, my friend.
You guys watched it on Amazon? I will buy it. You guys watched it on Amazon? I watched it on Lifetime.
You own Lifetime?
No, but like
Is it a free app?
It's free.
Oh.
It was free on Lifetime.
So everyone listening, I want a social media resurgence of Santa Bootcamp. directed by Melissa Joan Hart, who I didn't meet, but I did stare at uncomfortably long while I was there.
It's good that you can finally admit this because we have a special guest for this episode. Everybody welcome Melissa Joan Hart.
It's Melissa Joan Hart.
I did eat the food. They ordered food for us when rain delayed production for 6 hours, so I did stay, eat the food.
Hell yeah.
Now, they wanted to go past 2 a.m., and I said, I'm not getting paid for this. I've already ate your food. I filmed my scenes. I'm leaving. And I snuck off set the way I came in, like a thief in the night.
Okay, so if you guys did not watch it on Lifetime, we probably had different commercials.
We didn't have
I
any
had no
commercials.
commercials.
We owned this movie. Yeah.
And I'm telling you, Paige, it's a smooth 1 hour, 20 minutes, no commercials.
Yeah.
I bet it is.
It's so fast.
Even with commercials, when I watched it on Lifetime, it was about 140 minutes, which is still not that long. But so Lifetime had this commercial thing where it's all Campbell Soup commercials. All of them.
Okay.
Because they made a Campbell Soup.
I don't hate that.
I didn't hate it. I had a great time.
So was it like 30% Campbell Soup, Paige?
No. Okay. No. So Campbell Soup made a movie.
What?
Yes, that they're using as commercials. And it's a movie about a single mom raising her son who has autism. And they bond over cooking together
Out of canned soup?
out of canned soup.
Here, slowly warm this bottle of soup in a can.
Wait, no. Hear me out, okay? I was crying by the end of it.
What?
Wait, you watched this already?
Yes, because it played in between Santa fucking boot camp. Okay, so here's how this plays out, right? They also play recipe videos in between it where they're like, here's a Campbell Soup recipe. And they all fucking slap. They all look amazing and delicious. It's like you just get a 2-minute break into the Food Network and then it's back to Santa Boot Camp. But then they show you the like longer trailer for the movie they made about a mom and son bonding over cooking that also stars the Cake Boss and Tatiana Ali of, I believe, Fresh Prince fame at one point. I'm trying to remember. I know she was on a bunch of stuff. But she's the single mom. And so she's the one doing the recipe videos. And she's like, this is a recipe my abuela taught me, and I cook it with my kids now. And it's all like paired, but it's so good. I had a great time. It was the most I've ever enjoyed commercials in my entire life. Dude, scallop potatoes with cream of mushroom soup. It sounds brilliant. I'm gonna make it. It looks so good.
I mean, cream of mushroom soup is what makes green bean casserole work.
It is,
Right.
and I fucking crushed green bean casserole this year.
Mikey, did you get a check from Campbell Soup? Because it's clear Paige
No,
got a
I'm
check from
sorry.
Campbell
I did
Soup,
not.
guys.
I did not, but this was so nuts.
No, I'm going to talk about this. I don't think Campbell's has approached the male hosts for
Yeah.
whatever is going on that side of the podcast.
I don't even like soup, and I was in for it.
I love tomato soup.
Yes.
I unashamedly, that's not how that works. I can't talk on this podcast. I do all my talking at work, and I can't do it anymore. I unabashedly love tomato soup. I
Same.
will put crackers and cheddar in it. I'll put meat in it. I'll cook turkey bacon and put in tomato soup is good for everything.
Are we just doing Campbell Soup testimonials? What are we doing right now?
We don't have a ton to talk about with the actual movie. It moves pretty fast.
That is fair.
I actually do. I do have things to talk about. They have a weird amount of chemistry.
They do have a weird amount of all of them.
That's the one thing that works in this movie?
All of them do. I was like, Rita, fuck that Santa.
Yes.
They were together. Rita was Mrs. Santa Claus.
100%.
No, I mean like in real life.
Oh.
They seemed very comfortable.
They see their chemistry off the charts.
I know.
And then even our main two people, this movie, I was so happy because like every other Hallmark movie or Lifetime movie or whatever we've watched the last like 2 years, it's always single dad and she bonds with the kid and then we're like, and they love each other. I was like, why? They never spend any time together. This movie, no children, all weird Christmas cult. And they just like bond in that cult.
I do love the Christmas cult.
I'm so glad you're calling it a cult because I wrote that down immediately.
I think it's a good way.
It's fully a cult.
Yeah.
I will say the big test of their love is when she asks him to give up on his dream for her immediately, and then he does, and then they get to fall in love.
I also don't think that was really his dream. I feel like what he ends up doing is ultimately what his true dream was.
I'm so glad you just said that.
But I love that they did this in 10 minutes of the movie.
I know.
Literally 10 minutes before the end.
But I sort of agree. Like, I think his reevaluating of, do I really need a Michelin star to be the kind of chef I want to be? Like,
Yes.
I got that. And I love that he went on that journey off screen so that we could have this moment in 3 minutes, you know?
Yeah.
Why do I need a Michelin star or a restaurant when I could cater for this cult?
No, he's going to get a restaurant at the
Yes.
end of the movie.
Yeah, he's staying in LA.
Well, yeah, because the cult leader told, I guess, this guy
Yes.
who's also in the cult to give him a restaurant.
Everyone's in the Christmas cult.
Can we just say it's Scientology? Like, it's definitely Scientology. That's the metaphor of the movie.
It's not. It's Christmasology.
It's Christmasology.
It's Christmasology because instead of making toys year round, they leave the elves to do that. They come to California, and this very much checks out, to recruit people for their cult.
Yep.
And then they send them to a second location. Where do you think the elves come from, guys?
Yeah. 100%.
They're the followers in the cult.
I thought they were maybe searching for like the next Santa and Mrs. Claus, or maybe they just like
No.
they set up their like satellite locations around the world, and then someday when they eventually die, they just pick one.
Oh yeah, the church has gotten the Church of Christmas, by the way, it has gotten so
Yeah, of
big
course.
that like they have to throughout the year visit their different satellite branches.
Yeah, to elicit donations.
Exactly,
Of course.
exactly. Yeah.
Yeah, well, it's very positivity seminar, but also a little bit of twin flames.
It's also a lot of acting class. Like did you guys notice that? Like
It is a lot of acting class. It's a lot of acting class.
The weirdest part to me is when they hold 2 bowls full of jelly to correct their like non-Christmas electrolytes inside of their bodies, you know?
That was my favorite part.
I love this Christmas cult. I would join.
we know, Mikey.
Marissa Jarrett Winokur is probably the one, like, when they play their horrifying game of musical chairs, she's the one throwing the chairs. Like, she is in it to win it. She is 110% Christmas at all times.
I love that these 30 people were like, I've quit my job to learn how to be a better Christmas spirit Santa.
For 4 days.
They said 2 weeks.
4 days. It's 4 days active, and then they come back for their graduation a week and a half later.
And I'm going to say this right now. Mikey, I know you were in the movie. I'm sure Paige is right, just based on like the level we all paid attention to this IP that you're literally a part of.
I was confused about the plot in the movie because they were like,
Yes.
at the end, I was there for the big climax, you know?
You always are, Mikey.
They mess up the timing in the end. 100%. We'll get to it. Because they allegedly, a week goes by that we don't see on screen.
It's got to be, right?
Yes.
It just disappears. Yeah, it's into the mist.
Well, and then when they come out and they're like, what a great event that this lady planned, but also thanks for letting us do our Santa Bootcamp graduation. As an extra listening to those speeches, wild. I was like, what the fuck is this movie about?
Well, because there are no extras for the bulk of the rest of the movie. It's all single location.
Yes.
Which is also, they never go to like anybody's house except for
No.
like her office a couple times. They all stay at Santa's house. But when he invites her, he's like, hey, do you want to come back and decorate this tree? I was like, girl, go. Go, drink hot cocoa, put up ornaments until you can't stand not fucking each other anymore, and go.
I would like to bring forth a motion to the group that we call Mrs. Claus Mother Christmas and love Christmas has won.
Oh, no.
That's very sad.
Oh, no.
That's a little too sad for me.
Yeah. We can't lose Rita. We can't lose her like that.
But she did have Christmas lights.
That was a lot of good.
The saddest part of that whole like story to me is when Mama Christmas was like asking the elves to like take her to the hospital that she may have made all this Christmas stuff up, and they were so ingrained in Christmasology that they let her die. And they continued shoving her mouth full of Christmas magic until she was completely silver.
Yeah, it was bad. It was bad.
You probably shouldn't have gaslighted Christmas all over them for a long time. And like,
Oof.
there's a lot of lessons to be learned there.
Sure.
That documentary, Love Is One, is bonkers. I hated it. I hated it so much. But watch it.
They left some stuff out because, and a lot of, they live streamed almost everything. So you can find a lot of this online.
Yeah.
It was way darker. Like, it's already so dark and it was so much worse. You're like, oh no.
You know, usually when I watch one of those documentaries, I can be very empathetic and be like, oh, I could see how someone who is lost can just like really get in there and like find that family and stuff.
Yeah, of course.
But that one I like struggled with because they're like, Robin Williams is coming to yell at you because you're a piece of shit. And I'd be like,
I kind of love that.
I'm going to be like, I'm going to have to go ahead and like just get my sleeping bag and kind of pack up because like.
I loved him in Mrs. Doubtfire, but like he can't tell me what to do.
I'm like, when I read a novel, I need the plot to go A, B, C, D. Your whole mythology is just like all over the place for me.
That's because you firmly live in the 3D world, Mikey. We're in 5D now. We're like out here living that 5D life.
Mikey, she very much was stealing from a lot of other established.
And nothing made sense.
Well, but that's the thing. It's like if you're already into one of those more established pieces, she's just adding on. So I actually see how it is easy to get into one of those if you're already in one of the fringe ones.
Yeah, I saw Nope. I get what she was talking about.
Oh, yeah.
She's like, those clouds are all spaceships. I'd be like, I gotta get out of here, I think.
Yeah, we should run then. Should we move underground?
And I also don't love camping, but I tell you what I do love, really nice houses in Christmas. This cold would have had me.
There we go.
Thank you. I was like, we got to refocus. We can't talk about love as one forever.
No, but I mean, like, I'm not going to go camp for, like, cloud spaceships, but I sure as shit would sign up for, like, a 5-day, like, we're going to teach you everything you need to know about Christmas, and I'm actual Mrs. Claus. I'd be like, I'm intrigued.
Go on, Mrs. Claus.
Mikey in a second. Christmas Mikey would be their opening day. Like,
yeah. I'd be like, unfortunately, Mrs. Claus made me kill another one.
well, it is a fancy.
They were on the naughty list.
They were on the naughty list. It was a fancy house in Pasadena that had a cult in it. So maybe you're going to luck out and it's just Thelema and it's going to be explosions and sex the whole time.
Is there, Paige?
Yes.
You are a cult expert. I would consider you.
Hey, you know what? 2BTV said I was.
Well, and you have a very successful cult podcast that you've been doing for like 6 years.
Yes.
You're an expert, Paige.
Yeah, okay.
So my question is, are there any Christmas themed cults?
No.
That's not Christianity, but more like the mythos of Christmas.
Not really, no.
And I do love that about this movie. There is no religion in this Christmas movie.
At all.
And I love that they have completely divorced it out of it. I love it.
They go out of their way.
I know.
Because at one point someone's like, what if I'm Jewish? And he's like, Santa is for everyone. And I was like, all right, that settles that, I guess.
Bow down to Santa.
Bow to Santa. No. Although there are some weird idiosyncratic things about Christmas around the world, because the version of Christmas we understand and ascribe to current day in the United States is largely built from marketing from the 1940s on.
Yeah.
Right? Like that's mostly what we know of Christmas.
Church tells me that when I go on Christmas Eve, they're like, you're doing it wrong. And I'm like, I think we should combine these because
I think I'm doing it right.
The marketing department, I love lights and they should be everywhere all the time.
Yeah, the capitalism marketing department has been beating the Christianity marketing department for like 1,000 years at least.
Always.
Yeah.
Always. I don't know if you know, Christian's not great at marketing.
Oh, no, I've heard DC talk. You're wrong.
Oh, that's true. DC talk does slap. Anyway.
It's an old reference, sir.
But it checks out, though. They slap.
Yeah.
It does check out. They do slap.
Couldn't name you one song that was the only Christian band I could remember.
And if I can't swim after 40 days in the rise. Yeah, that's DC talk.
I do know that song, yeah.
POD.
Hell yeah, I forgot about POD.
But yeah, POD also slapped. But okay, so Christmas, other places, they have older Christmas traditions that would not make sense to us, but are common to them. And so those are pretty fun. But what's even more fun to me is that as America has become a colonizing, conquering force of evil, we have spread Christmas to places that did not have Christmas because they're not a Christianity-based place. And some of those things are hilarious. Like, a lot of the proliferation of Christmas in Asia, I find fascinating because a lot of Christmas things are made there, manufactured wise, but there's not necessarily a cultural connection to those items. Or like in Japan where they do KFC for Christmas and it's like a huge deal, like wait in lines for like days, reserve it months in advance. And there's also a lot of stuff with Colonel Sanders dressed as Santa where they're like, it's basically the same thing, right? Like, what's the difference? And I'm like, I mean, you're not wrong.
Yeah.
So there's not a Christmas cult, but Christmas as a cultural phenomenon, very interesting, I think.
So what I hear you saying, Paige, is that since I wanted to start a religion for tax purposes, if I make it Christmas-based, that gives me 2 of the 3 votes I need.
Nope. I mean, you still don't have mine. You might get Mikey's.
I do think Christmas represents the best parts of Christianity, and like now it's like marketed. Christmas marketing is what Christianity needs to market itself as, like making people's day better, being really kind without question,
Helping the poor,
altruism,
Yes.
like loving people, like bringing joy into people's lives for no reason other than, it's fulfilling.
Yeah, I also agree that Christians should follow the teachings of Jesus.
Yeah.
That would be like revolutionary.
100%.
Well, I think it's really sad that the marketing department distilled that part out.
Yeah.
I mean, obviously to sell stuff to bring joy, but like they're like, no, I don't care if you're, Muslim or Jewish or whatever. Buy our cookies and give them to your neighbors.
Right?
Because people love that.
People do love that. Yeah.
I have gingerbread cookies in my fridge right now that work sent me. And I was like, normally not a fan of work, but they got me cookies. And I was like, well, all right.
You got me.
Thanks for the cookie pizza party.
Exactly.
Anyway, should we get into this movie?
I guess there's not much to it.
There's so much to it.
I know. I was just like, I could talk about the cultural proliferation of Christmas and why I particularly like the eras of Christmas that I particularly enjoy forever. But that's like a whole TED Talk of its own.
I want Christmas to go on its Eras tour.
Oh, but I only want like what I saw the Beyonce tour documentary.
Was it good?
Crystal and I went and saw it in theaters. It was fucking amazing. It's even better than the last one. It's so good.
This is her second?
Yeah. Well, you saw Homecoming because I browbeat you into it.
Oh, that's right.
And so this one is like if the T-1000 and a drag queen had a baby.
Okay.
And it was a concert tour, but then they also the documentary does a whole bunch of behind the scenes stuff of like how they built the stage, and it's fucking fascinating. Like on top of the fact that Beyonce tour documentaries are just a marvel because you're just like, how does this woman do this? Like how does she somehow have 30 hours in a day? Like I don't know. But then there's also a whole section about her Blue Ivy training to be one of her dancers, which is like, it made Crystal and I just cry. We were like so proud of her. But then it's also just like how she manages her family on the road, and she loses her uncle who used to make a lot of her costumes. And it's just like, oh, it's a ride. It was a good time.
Does it show her singing and all the songs and everything?
Oh yeah. And she's singing fucking live.
No, I'm out. Sounds like a musical.
I mean, it's a concert documentary.
Okay. There was a lot more physical activity for this boot camp than I was anticipating.
Oh, they actually do like calisthenics.
Yeah, there was a lot more running.
Like what?
Yeah, hard pass.
Santa's supposed to be like big and jolly, guys. Like,
And he is. The Santa in this movie, I would say, is appropriately jolly.
oh, you mean Chris? Yeah.
She's downplaying that. I got a side text from her that was like, they've made Santa too sexy and I'm not okay.
No, that was okay. Here's when that was happening.
Hang on. Is this real?
Hold on. Yes,
This is real.
it is. Let me explain myself.
I did notice that Chris, like Santa Chris, had like some pretty wide ass shoulders.
No, I was referring to Aiden.
Oh, okay.
That you did not say you were referring to Aiden.
I didn't. I was just texting, but that's when I was texting is when they were having Aiden role play as Santa. And he's like, I remember our first date, a picnic at the North Pole. I was like, first of all, that sounds fucking insane. You would freeze to death.
Because they would both die. I mean, Chris probably wouldn't because he's Santa, right? But he just brought a date to a place that would kill her.
Right.
Who knows? Maybe it's Christmas magic.
I definitely unlocked a new Christmas
Kink?
Yeah.
goal.
Okay.
Goal?
I'm going to call it a goal. Keep it healthy. Keep it wholesome.
I'm going to start calling my kinks my goals.
I'm going to keep nothing wholesome around Aiden. I'm just putting it out here right now.
I mean, he does look like the same actor that starred in every late night Skinamax show that ever happened, but this time he went to Christmas boot camp.
He has the perfect 5 o'clock shadow at all times and a full thick head of hair.
He's like, I love catering and you.
I love catering.
And would give up the dream he's had his whole life After spending 4 days at a Santa boot camp, he is both working and attending.
I mean, that's how the cult gets you. You end up working for them for free.
Yeah.
Mrs. Claus did not bless his restaurant. She wanted it to be her restaurant.
You know she gets a piece, right?
Yeah.
How else do they fund the cult?
Exactly. But also, he describes the kind of restaurant he wants to make, and it does not seem to be the restaurant that has contacted him. So I do think that ultimately what he ends up with is closer to what his true dream, his Christmas magic dream is.
Yeah.
I don't know. I mean, it also depends where you are in life. Where, like, let's say that hypothetically you've really done a lot of your professional dreams and you want a cute blonde to settle down with who loves Christmas and has nice teeth.
So what you're saying, Mikey, is you were into the main character?
Not really. She I know she wasn't acting like this, but she looks like she's like having a panic attack or suffering from an anxiety disorder at all times. Yeah.
I'm not sure that anyone was really acting in this, but I agree. She, especially with the deer in the headlights that we get in the first few like scenes, her eyes, she does look like a deer in headlights, man.
Okay, so the movie opens up with the main character looking at the camera.
You didn't do the outline, did you?
I thought Paige did.
Good. Thank God. Okay.
I would have done it. I was ready.
I was impressed with the outline you did. It was very good.
I'm ready. Whenever Paige needs it, I'll do it.
Anyway, we open on a Campbell's soup ad. No, I'm kidding.
Oh my God, Paige.
I'm kidding.
Good.
The scalloped potatoes did look great. Anyway, we open on Rita Moreno, sitting in like a lobby as it gets decorated. And she says, "Let there be Christmas," and then stands up in her sparkle pajamas.
Oh, yeah, she meditates.
Yeah. Mm-hmm. She's like Doctor Strange, just sitting there like...
Yeah. Why people Christmas around her and then set up her house for Christmas.
Yeah.
Or what we later learned are cult members.
Yes. Everyone in this movie that is not Chris or Rita Moreno are victims.
Yes.
And we should address them as such.
Correct.
Because they are in the orbit of the cult, okay?
Right, and she has the holiday stone, and she is abusing it.
Her tracksuit is like his cape.
Yeah.
Now, they do have powers, which we learn when that toy car becomes real.
Yeah, because they're Santa and Mrs. Claus.
Yeah. So they're not victims. They dedicated their life to the claws.
The Claus?
They certainly got their claws in these cult members.
Oh my God. Anyway, Marissa Jarrow Winokur runs in doing the most. I don't remember the name they gave her. Holly, maybe?
It probably was Holly or something that's like Christmas adjacent. Oh, wait, no, it's Patty. I just looked it up. It's Patty.
They could have just called her Holly. What a waste. Anyway, so she runs in and is just like, "It's beautiful, just like you." And I was like, this is a movie, not Broadway. But I love it just the same.
Yeah.
She's shouting for the back rows.
Yeah.
It's wild.
She's the #1 cult member. She brings that energy.
I know. She does bring that energy. She's just like, "I'll kill for you, Santa." Yeah, it'd be great.
Oh, yeah.
I've got to see a horror movie about Santa cult, and like if it's not made, I will do it.
Mikey, let's make it. I'm not joking.
I would argue you already made a Santa cult movie, and it's this one. She's just a jingle on the tone scale. That's it.
Yeah.
Woo.
Anyway, we cut to modern day, and this is where I have to express just a brief moment of LA information because this movie is supposed to be here. So it functions around a party planning company that gets a call from a guy named Ed Mancini, who's like the big mall dude. He's very clearly based on Rick Caruso, who is a real person who owns all the big fancy malls in LA and then ran for mayor this year, the year this movie came out. And I think maybe they thought he would win and had to then like hastily cut it or something because the election happened and we were like, no. And we didn't end up with anything much better, but we definitely didn't get that creepy guy. So like this was a whole wild ride. And they also like, most of this movie takes place in Pasadena. Like it's aggressively, they're like Los Angeles, Pasadena, and I was like, this doesn't even look close, but also they're definitely basing this on real, very creepy people who tases homeless people at his malls.
I love it in a movie that was 1,000% shot in the town Mikey and I live in.
Yep.
Paige found a way to bring up where she lives.
It's because it's supposed to be where I live. They say it the whole time.
Why didn't they just set it here, Todd?
I thought about that. No, Paige. I just thought it was funny. Paige, I think that it's hilarious that this movie's supposed to take place exactly where you live, but it's actually filmed exactly where Mikey and I live.
Why didn't they just set it here?
I don't know. There's no reason to not have said it here.
Yeah, they could have just said it there and just replaced, copy paste Los Angeles with Nashville.
Yeah.
And nobody would have known.
Yes, it just needed to be a word.
Yeah.
You could have said Toronto. I mean, no one cares.
Yeah, because for all I know, you have your own Ed Mancini or whatever. And instead they're like, this is definitely Rick Caruso.
A fun drinking game for this film would be to take a shot any character says Ed Mancini.
Yeah, Ed Mancini or Los Angeles or Pasadena, because they are constantly trying to convince you that that's where they are.
You would think them saying the words Ed Mancini 100 times during the film that he'd be in it. But at the end, he's in it for 30 seconds.
We see him a little bit.
We see him a little bit in the beginning and then at that call late, it's sort of mid-movie, but he's in the movie maybe 2 minutes of screen time at most.
Yeah. Yeah, it's weird. The other thing too, and this is just because they keep saying it is what it is, and I know what it's supposed to be. So I worked at the Grove at Christmas, and they erect a full size, and I mean 3-bedroom, 2-bath gingerbread house in the middle of the Grove. They have multiple trees the size of skyscrapers. They have giant chandeliers of Christmas ornament. It is Christmas unlike anyone has ever seen. But then they're also tasing homeless people at street level. So it is so fancy Christmas that then it is a tourist attraction, and they do VIP stuff that only 100 people get to do where they see Santa. It's a whole thing. I was like, I know what they're getting at, but not at this random strip mall that has no decorations because it's definitely August.
It was August, yeah. And that's barely a strip mall. When I tell you it is 2 blocks of stores and then a hotel, that's all that is.
I took you guys to the Grove. We walked through it.
I know.
Yeah.
What we see in this movie is aggressively not even the Grove adjacent.
Yeah, no. I mean, it is a store.
But they did have it does have a courtyard.
Sure.
It does have a nice courtyard. You're right. Yeah.
That's where they set up all the Christmas stuff.
This is so close to my old office. I would walk people there to do professional headshots. It is so close to where I used to work.
Well, and that's why I texted you that night and said, come meet me at this Christmas movie.
I know.
I texted a lot of people and everybody turned me down and said, I'm going to go alone.
Well, I couldn't fly to Tennessee. If it had been at the Grove, I'd have been there.
I didn't text you, Paige, because you don't live here. But I texted a lot of people that I knew here, and I was like, last minute, let's try to sneak on the set of this Christmas movie. And people were like, I have children. Please leave me alone.
If I had been there, I would have snuck with you, Mikey, 100%. And they would have been like, she looks like she's from California, because they could just tell.
I honestly can't remember what I was doing that night where I couldn't, but I couldn't that night. I remember wanting to have done that, but I couldn't do it for some reason.
You were washing your hair.
I remember I was with my parents, where for some reason I was up at my parents' place, and I was you were live texting us what was happening.
Yeah, it was amazing.
And I would just my parents would be like, what's happening now? I was like, he sees Melissa Joan Hart. And then my parents watched this on Lifetime when it premiered and sent you a video of them finding you in the crowd.
Yes. Rita Moreno would come out. She had her trailer. She wouldn't talk to people. And I loved that. And so she would just come out and be like, line, and then just say it and then go back to the trailer.
God damn, I love Rita Moreno so much.
Oscar winner,
Yes.
Rita Moreno.
Yes.
Gotta love it.
When she's reading that speech at the end, she's like, fuck it, I need my glasses because I have to read these things.
Why didn't they just let her have glasses? Mrs. Claus definitely would have glasses.
Or at least when she's in the costume at the end,
Yeah.
Look,
Melissa Joan Hart is a very kind director. They did not get into words over it, but she's like, I can't remember. I'll just put my glasses on. I was like, this lady rules.
yes. She is amazing. Rita Moreno's amazing. And she is an amazing actress. Even though she seems like she may have been just having the most fun on set and wasn't like super stressed about the acting in this, she's killing it.
She's great in this. She's killing it.
She knows what this is,
Yes.
and she
Yes.
dives into it.
Yeah.
She's 110%. Her and Chris's relationship, squad goals. Like,
Oh, yeah.
goals. Anyway, our main character, Elf Girl, gets a call from Mancini. And so she shows up to the shopping center that Mancini owns.
Yeah.
And he's like, I fired the event planners. I fired the caterer. I don't do charity. This is a VIP event for only 100 people at $1,000 a plate. It's this whole thing.
Yeah.
And he's like, also, I need the best Santa. They need to be magical, like Kris Kringle and Miracle on 34th Street. And at this point in my notes, I just said, I think this is supposed to be Caruso, but she agrees and goes back to her mom and is like, here's all the things he wants. And her mom is like, do you really want this job? Like, this sounds awful. Oh, we should mention, she and her mom speak almost entirely in sign, and
Yes.
there's no diegetic sound when that happens. So you have to read it with subtitles and keep up.
There's not even a score under it in most
There's
scenes.
not even a score.
I was like, that's a weird choice, but okay.
You don't need score. This movie speaks for itself.
Yeah, sure. Anyway, so we cut to the Santa Bootcamp house where Aiden has printed out a bunch of flyers and hands them to Rita Moreno, Mrs. Claus,
Who just throws them into the air like a mad person.
into the wind.
It's Christmas magic, guys, that it gets where they need to go.
No, it's not. Todd, there's not even contact numbers or anything on those flyers.
Nope.
It's madness.
Oh my God. I didn't even notice that.
She just says, come to my house. It's Santa Boot Camp.
Yes, that's so crazy.
That's okay. That's hilarious. Not even a QR code.
Not even a QR code. Here's the funnier part to me, and it is the Christmas magic part. We've established where our main elf girl is. We've established where this house is. Her house is in Pasadena. She's in the equivalent of WeHo. 20 miles. And then this flyer just like flyers through the air and then ends up under her foot
Literally stuck to it.
and then just stuffs it into her bag. Like,
Yeah.
weird that paper could fly this far, and then just like goes on her merry way.
Yeah.
Her overacting when she steps on the thing is just incredible. Award winning.
Award winning.
I love it.
Yes, magical. Kringle, even. So we cut back to her office where they have a spread of generic Santas on the desk. And she just goes, all of these guys are too Hollywood. Which is a crazy thing to say.
Yes.
About, and they just all look like Santas. You're just like, they're Santas.
It is a crazy thing to say, especially when one of the quote unquote good Santas later in this movie looks almost exactly like Andy Garcia.
Yeah.
So like that guy looks Hollywood AF in this movie. And I'm like,
Right.
whatever. But I mean, they have to have a shitty Hallmarkian Christmas premise page. So why not throw like a who's going to be the best Santa competition, kind of thing.
Well, and not only that, they also have to like, they go so out of their way to be like, we're in Los Angeles, but then to also try and be like, and I'm from a small town in the middle
Yeah.
of America, like to still have it both ways and still be like tree farm, plaid shirts.
They should have just done it here. It makes more sense to be set here.
They should have. It makes more sense in Nashville. There's no need for this to be in Los Angeles other than to shit on Rick Caruso, which like, hey, don't hate, but there's no need for it to be here. So as she unpacks the food that she's brought home, because they're going to be working all night, she finds the flyer for Santa Boot Camp and she's like, oh, it's a 4-day training program. I bet they have great Santas. I'll go there and like see if they have a Santa they can recommend. That's her plan.
Yeah. Honestly, not a terrible plan.
No.
But like now I understand why they didn't have a contact number on the form, because she would have just called that number.
Right.
Yeah, I love to just when it comes to my business and my work, I love to just not research something, just show up there without any thought about it.
Yep.
And then join a cult.
That's what makes me a good manager, director now.
Hey, congrats, buddy.
Yeah. Take this copy of Silent Night and Addicts.
I'd be like, team, I found a flyer. There's no address. It says we're going to boot camp. I'm headed there tomorrow. I'll see you guys in 5 days.
If I'm not back in 2 weeks, don't worry about it.
Don't worry about it. At least he's not on the roof.
At least he's not on the roof. That's a real good joke. Everybody I work with would really laugh at that.
Thank you. Anyway, she shows up at the house. And it's this big old house in, they say Pasadena, and there are houses like that, so fine, that checks out, I guess. But again, this could just be Nashville and should be.
It is. It's honestly just Franklin. Like, there are a lot of houses that look just like this. Franklin's a very affluent area.
Oh my God. Is she Gwen Shamblin?
Not anymore.
Todd, there's one side of the hotel that has the face looks like a house. So that's what they use for all of these scenes.
Yeah. No, I know.
They didn't use an actual house?
No, it's the hotel.
What?
Well, the exterior shots, I think the interior shots might be as well. Anyway.
It looks like a hotel inside.
Well, it is.
Yeah. It was like a 4-day shoot.
Good night. I knew I was like this shot in a week. I can tell. Anyway.
Oh, yeah.
So on her way up to the house, she runs into a very hot chef. And the fact that she doesn't realize that because she's like shit talking chefs to a guy. And I'm like, that's clearly the fucking chefs. Yeah.
She's like, you know who I hate? Everyone who prepares my food.
I was like, that's clearly him. Anyway. So she goes to wait in line. She's like, yeah, I just want a recommendation. I'm not enrolling in the school. And they're like, you're here. You're in school. Join the cult. Done.
Yeah, there's no actual master class that wouldn't charge you to join.
Right?
This is a cult.
This is a cult. But even cults sometimes would charge you to join.
And you know the second level of this class gets way more expensive. You know what I'm saying? Like
100.
The first class is free.
Yeah, they're like, now sell your house.
Yeah, exactly. Right. But if you want to get like really clear, Santa, then you've got to sell your house and give us all the money.
Really cheer. If you want to go cheer.
Hell yeah, Paige.
If you want to live at the North Pole with us, you have to sell your house and bring all your money.
I love that as you walk in, you walk through her merch table.
Yeah, of course.
And it's just like, I put the cheer in Christmas or whatever, and you're just like, what is this weird Christmas cult? So they go inside, they take a seat, and at this point, because it's just a small room with folding chairs, bright lights, no bathroom breaks, and I'm like, oh, this is, the one that I can't talk about because they threatened to sue Cult Podcast that rhymes with land shark quorum. Like, this is bad. Anyway, it's at this point that we establish that this is basically Christmas Twin Flames because she's up there and she's like, we're going to role play as Santa and Mrs. Claus, but not as like, ho, 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 Christmas, like, when was our first date, Santa? This is when I texted you, Mikey, to be like, they made Santa sexy and I'm not okay.
Oh, yeah. Their role playing is like, remember when we helped the children? It's like, no, it's like, remember when you bent over to take the cookies out of the oven? And you're like, what is happening?
And I was like, ho, ho, hold on a minute.
Santa always eats the cookie. It does. Everyone takes a very sexual tone in this scene.
Yeah.
No notes.
They're like, take down the stockings. Yeah.
Your chimney's clogged.
What the fuck?
What does that mean, Mikey?
Means he's got to clean it out with Christmas magic.
And I'm your chimney sweep, governor.
No, don't ruin it.
Sorry.
Don't ruin this goal.
Don't ruin it. You ruined it.
I was just trying to bring like a young Dick Van Dyke energy to this Santa fuck orgy or whatever we're role playing in right now.
People complain that last Christmas was too serious. Well, we've definitely veered away from serious the last couple of weeks.
We've turned a corner for sure, yeah. We went from a sad, sentimental movie about a heart thief to a movie about a Santa cult.
Yeah, Santa cult.
I'm just picturing now pasties with jingle bells on them.
I bet. I read a romance novel last year that included a Christmas-themed strip club, and I bet that happened.
Where is all the good Christmas-themed strip clubs?
I mean...
The North Pole is the perfect
the
name
North
for it!
Pole! I think that might have been what it was called in the book. I don't remember. This is last Christmas.
If you're a decent author.
Yeah.
Of course.
It was a decent book. Anyway, we meet the other elves, or the other people in this cult, and one of them is like the HR department for a department store, so she's like, I want to know what all my Christmas people go through. One guy just wants to be a good Santa for his grandson, Carlo, and that doesn't come back until the very, very end where he's like, Carlo! And that's it. Like, that's the only...
We never see that kid's face.
Grandpa, where have you been this Christmas?
You disappeared for 4 days and you don't have your medication.
But that's the guy who looks like Andy Garcia to me.
He fully does.
So I was like, this guy can do no wrong. I love him.
Honestly, that guy dressed up as a Santa, that's Daddy Santa right there. That's like, all right.
Daddy Santa.
Slip a sable under the tree for me. Anyway, she's the last one to introduce herself and is just like, I just want a referral. And they're like, shut up and play sexy Santa Christmas games. You're like, okay, all right. They accuse her of having no joy. And so instead, they make the chef, who of course is the hot guy from earlier, join the game, and he has to role play with her as Mr. and Mrs. Claus.
Right?
And it's like a thing. It's a lot.
I mean, it sounded like a man describing a date that would kill both of them, thinking it's romantic.
It sounded like if Dipsy wrote a Santa story.
Say it.
It was
Santa.
I'll
just whisper in your ear. You're on my nice list.
In my notes, I just have in all caps, I am screaming, picnic at the North Pole. I'm so uncomfortable. Ice cream? Why is Santa sexy? I hate this.
Paige, you did not hate this.
I hated this scene where he was pretending to be Santa. I was just like, just let him cook her a grilled cheese and let me watch that. And like, preferably with no shirts.
Wow, you're so close-minded and vanilla.
Oh, yeah, I'm the vanilla one. Okay. All right. Anyway, they make the chef join the cult.
Yeah, of course.
And he was like, whoa, I was just working here. And they're like, not anymore.
If you want your paycheck, you're definitely going to participate in the classes.
Look, the prophet says you have to join.
Yeah, listen, I was trying to get you out of it, but like, you know, the Kris Kringle is demanding it. Father Christmas, who just got out of prison and has a real sort of like bad energy. Yeah.
He's got a bag of meth for you, and we're gonna grit our teeth.
Yes.
Mrs. Claus is like, you have a lot of potential. I could see you in the Sea Org, or as we call it, the Christmas Org.
Hell yes, Mikey.
You signed a 1,000,000-year contract to help Santa.
The Santa Claus.
It is. That's what that movie should have been about. If this movie had any balls.
No, The Santa Claus is one of my favorite Christmas movies of all time. It makes me fucking sob.
I do love this. They're still making new episodes of that stuff. They brought it back.
Episodes?
I refuse to watch that. It's only the original. I don't care about the sequels. It's just the original about a single dad learning not to be a dick. And I don't need anything else. It just makes me cry buckets every time I watch it.
I know in 90s, single dads were like way worse than single dads now.
Oh, yeah. Anyway, so they end up outside doing laps like the Sea Org, the Christmas Org. And she's answering phones from Mr. Mancini, who's like, where the fuck are you? Because if you had an event 2 weeks away and then you just took 4 days off and didn't plan anything, people would lose their fucking minds.
Essentially, what she should have done is like, I don't know who you call to book a Santa, but like you call whoever that is and be like, hey, send me your best guy. Cool. Hang up the phone. That takes like an hour 30-minute tops to knock out that task. Not 4 days at a boot camp.
I couldn't figure out how she was managing to like how she just didn't leave.
It's a cult.
Like maybe they locked the doors and were like, hey, this is about you being your best you. But like she couldn't go. Like they were not, she was stuck there.
Yeah. She is a victim. You're right. I forgot. I apologize.
You apologize. Anyway, so Marissa Jarrett Winokur catches her with the phone and is just like, hang up your phone, but meet Belle at the stables. And they go see the reindeer. And miraculously, Elf Girl knows a lot more about the reindeer because she's like, oh, I've had to hire a reindeer for events and it's a fucking bitch. And you're like, yeah, live animals. Rough.
Yeah.
I'm pretty sure I talked about my church's live animal thing every time we do Christmas.
Is it because poop was on the stage and someone stepped in it, Paige? I love that story. I love it.
Exactly. They did.
I need to tell you guys about two things currently in this podcast recording.
Okay.
That could stay in the episode. One, I have a heart out now.
Oh, okay.
At 1.
We can make that. Yeah, we're fine.
I don't think that's going to be a problem.
It's like 4 hours away.
Yeah.
We're like halfway through this episode already.
If we're still recording at 1, I'm livid.
Welcome to part 7 of Santa Bootcamp. 2, I'm going to go to a church's live action Bethlehem with camels and stuff.
Hell yeah, Mikey.
Todd, you and Natalie are welcome to come. I've talked my mom into it because I can't talk anyone to do stupid Christmas shit with me anymore. And if you want to be my girlfriend, I need you to be really Christmas open-minded in all the ways.
I need you to want to go to a thing to see if a camel kicks over set pieces. Because you know what? 50-50 chance.
They brought real dirt. And you walk along apparently it's like really famous.
Oh, it's one of the walk ones?
Well, yeah.
Oh, okay. All right. Those are kind of cool, actually. I like those.
And there's food trucks.
Fuck, man.
I'm headed out. I'm gonna go. We're going, man. I'm going.
That sounds amazing. Sadly, we have plans with some friends tonight already. I appreciate the invite, but I want pictures.
That's why we're going at 1:30, Todd. It's not tonight.
Well, no, I mean, it's like, but we have plans with them and then we're doing dinner. Yeah.
That sounds like a vague excuse. You get an F on that.
When I was home with my parents this past weekend, we went to Widmer World, which is a house near my hometown that every year does an entire walk-through Christmas exhibit in their backyard. And you'd think, you're like, backyard, how big could this be? Multiple like tractor trailer, like truck trailers worth of like Christmas dioramas and like the city of Bethlehem and like a million snowmen and like light sculptures. Fucking wild.
Yeah.
So I'm down for all that weird shit.
I'm sure it's going to be great. I'd love to go. It's a shame I have, quote, plans with friends. Isn't it, Mikey?
Wow. Hurts my heart in a way that cannot be described in a verbal medium.
I get why you like to be on this side of it, where you're just like, no, I can't commit to it. I don't really like being Todd's friend. Like, I get like why you enjoy being that side of it.
I was like, at 1:30 p.m., I would like to do something. I have dinner plans.
Yeah, I've got dinner plans, bro.
These are, it's real Jeff energy. I'm just going to put it out there.
I have 7 p.m. plans.
Well, Natalie's at yoga. Like, I don't know. Like, we probably can't. We don't have time.
We don't have time to do something 6 hours before dinner. We have dinner plans.
You eat dinner at 9.
I'll eat dinner at 9.
What time's your reservation?
Oh, man. I honestly, I don't know. Natalie and it's our friends Lee and Whitney.
Strap him into the lie detector, Mikey.
Oh my God.
No,
this is so
I'm
bad
literally
for
looking
you.
it up right now. I'm looking up the text thread with my friend Whitney and Natalie.
Oh, it's Lee and Whitney, the people you went to Japan with?
He doesn't. I don't even know if he really went to. I don't know what's a lie anymore or what's not.
Boom. Yes. Sorry, I was paying attention, but
I'm sorry. I have to think of something.
I was skimming through these text messages. Clearly, there's not much movie to talk about, guys, because we are digging deep for content. But
Pause. Todd's talking. I had one Christmas wish. That's for Todd to come with me to see live camels in Bethlehem.
My God, no.
Todd's always like, "Let's hang out, buddy," and then I live invite him to something, so you all see what I get when I invite him to do something.
I'm going to probably find some Christmas lights here to drive around and maybe go to IKEA if I'm feeling brave.
Ooh,
I love that. I have plans, quote unquote.
with friends.
No, my mom's gonna come with me because I'm a fucking loser. My friends are always like, "I have dinner."
I love it. That's how I saw the movie Scorpion King. My mom and I saw it together.
I hope the Scorpion King's in this version of Bethlehem.
I can't imagine that would be the case, but I want it to be so bad.
He's one of the wise men.
I just want someone to badly keyframe in a Santa hat on the terrible The Rock Scorpion in that movie.
Okay, but I want him to show up as the fourth wise man and be like, frankincense, myrrh, scarabs.
The dinner reservations for 5.
Okay.
I looked it up.
Yep, that would only be 3 or 4 hours before reservation.
Yeah.
Also 5. What are you guys, 80 years old?
Yeah, what the fuck, 5 o'clock?
I got a lot going on at my house right now, guys. Like,
Sounds like it.
yeah.
Okay, as penance, I need you to make your own walk-through Christmas display with your animals.
I don't have time. I don't have time for all that. That would take too much time.
You could do it during the 4 hours between 1:30 and your reservation.
I am definitely high on cold medicine, but this is making it even better. This is great.
Oh, I'm trying to grow out my beard. This is a week and a half.
Me too, honestly.
Yeah, yours looks a lot better. I'm not gonna lie to you. I've got peach fuzz and gray hair. I don't know what that combination is.
It's called the Deep South. It's an inbred thing, Mikey. That's what I was saying.
Oh, I don't. Mm-mm.
Well, Todd looks like maybe he's been shaving his feet and growing.
Gluing him on his face? Yeah,
Yes,
I'm
where I'm
with you. He's already denied me. I'm with you. Your beard looks like you shaved your hair off your foot and just glued them on your face with Elmer's glue, you piece of shit. Thanks for coming to my Christmas.
Thanks for recapping Paige's joke.
Okay, anyway, we got to get through this before I forget what's happening. So,
Yes. Get started on your resolutions with Factor so you're ready for the new year. Factor's ready-to-eat meal delivery takes the stress out of meal planning and sets you up for success in the new year. Skip the groceries, prep work, and the cooking fatigue. Instead, get chef-crafted, dietitian-approved meals delivered right to your door with over 35 meals to choose from per week, including options like keto, calorie smart, vegan plus veggie, and more. Plus, over 55 weekly add-ons. You'll have tons of nutritious and flavorful options to kickstart your resolutions. Factor now offers like a load of snacks. In fact, we just got some of these like smoothies that were really great. They have a banana chocolate smoothie that like I drank way too much of. It was so good. And even better than that, when things get hectic, Factor's like flexible. So you can change up your order every week with plans from like 4 to like 18 meals per week. So you can like have a bunch of meals or just a few meals depending upon like how many times you need meals that week, right? So it's great. So head to factormeals.com/romancingthepod50 and use code romancingthepod50 to get 50% off. That's code romancingthepod50 at factormeals.com/romancingthepod50 to get 50% off.
she shows up and is just like, actually, reindeers shed their antlers and lady reindeers are better at asking for directions, so it's all lady reindeers.
Yeah.
And they're like, oh, she knows about reindeer, magical. So then we cut to the next, either like later that afternoon or the next day, where Chris, who we've met, that's like Belle, Mrs. Claus's husband, he's giving like a TED Talk on being the best Santa. And honestly, he's fucking amazing as Santa.
Yeah.
He is the magical Santa, but my favorite part is Marissa Jarrett Winokur's wish list every time they ask her, because it changes every time. And I really hope it was improv, because one of them is a real thing, which is a toaster that also makes hot dogs.
That's a real thing?
That's a real thing, and it was like a best of list of Christmas like 3 years ago.
Okay. That was the one I thought was completely made up.
I will find a photo. Hot dog toaster. Yes! 2 hot dogs with buns.
Oh, I thought he said it was a toaster that put a hot dog inside a Pop-Tart.
Oh, yeah. No, that is what he says. And I am sad that that doesn't exist as someone who likes both hot dogs and Pop-Tarts. But there was one that like, it's like a toaster that you just like put 2 hot dogs in it standing up and it like, yay, hot dogs.
Yeah.
Anyway, there was that. And then she asks to be prettier than Ashley because Ashley is blonde. But I did love Santa's response where he's like, hey, you work on your list. I'll work on your list. You work on loving who you are. I was like, that's fucking right, Santa. That's right, Santa.
Hell yeah.
Well, Chris he's got the Santa game, you know? He's got that game down.
Yes. But then they call everyone else up and they're supposed to be Santa and they put Emily up there and her wig is unhinged. It looks like she has Will Ferrell's wig from Zoolander.
It's wild. It's great.
It's crazy. But this is where she's like, I want cheesy French fries, any kind of sea monster, and a kitten. And I was like, let's hang.
Yeah.
Like, pop off, sis. Anyway, this is also where Chris is trying to like teach her how to do it. And so he's like role playing with Rita Moreno. And so it's like Santa and Mrs. Claus. And she starts out with like, Santa, you are so handsome. And I was like, I don't like this at all. And then they're like, I know that you wanted a treadmill, but I bought you a motorcycle. But if you could get me a Siamese kitten with blue eyes, I was like, what is happening? Is she a child? Is she his wife? What is this?
It was definitely a weird role play that I wasn't not into.
Well, it's funny because it does go from like role playing as a child talking to Santa to a very adult wife of Santa role playing like what she wants for Christmas. So it is sort of jarring. You're like, this is not what a kid asks for Christmas, at least not like this.
Yeah.
But listen, loved it. It was hilarious.
It was wild. But then they bring Emily back up and they're like, what did you wish for when you were 10? And she's like, I always wish for a white Christmas because I grew up in Southern California where that don't happen.
She reveals that she always wanted a white Christmas as a kid, like she's revealing childhood trauma in one-on-one intensive therapy, and then runs out of the room. I was like, is that something you cry about? Like,
I mean, they treat it as if she had been like, my dad climbed down the chimney as Santa, and then it's like the Gremlins revelation.
It very much is. But like, I get your dad dying like it does in Gremlins. Like, that would be a big formative memory. Just like
100%.
not having had a white Christmas. Like, I get that you might want to have. It's not something you run out of the room crying about. Is all I'm saying.
Well, because she does get into, she's like, part of Christmas is missing and I don't know how to find it. So I think it's like, it's a symptom of a larger problem.
Right.
I was going to say, if you're that old and you haven't had a white Christmas and you live in LA, it's time to maybe like schedule a trip.
Yeah.
Yeah, I don't know if you know, there's snow 45 minutes away from us. So, like we have mountains.
Rent a cabin for Christmas.
Yeah.
It's a nice, fun thing.
Just go up to Bear. It's fine. Or Lake Arrowhead or whatever. One of those places. We got snow last year. Not on Christmas. It was after Christmas. But we got full-ass snow last year.
We got snow on Christmas Day here in 2020.
Yeah. I'm honestly kind of hoping that it'll snow again this year. It was pretty fun.
I'm excited. I hope it snows again, too. I hope the world freezes.
What? No. Like the beginning of Tropic Thunder? In a world that froze over completely.
No, like the movie The Day After Tomorrow.
I want Dennis Quaid to yell at me about this freezing that's going really slow and following me. That movie's wild. I don't know if anyone's going to get that reference.
The Day After Tomorrow?
Yeah.
I just made a joke about it. Clearly, I remembered.
Do you remember there was a line of freezing that slowly went across New York and they ran from it?
If you're asking me if I remember the scene in that movie where Americans stormed the Mexican border because America is freezing and people started laughing in the theaters, yes, I do remember that. I saw that movie in theaters. It's trash, and I love it.
Just to think today they'd all be piled up on the wall, just die.
Oh, God. Well, that just reminds me of when The Happening came out, and Marky Mark at one point is like, it's the wind. I think it's the wind. And the whole theater was just like, ah! Like, fucking Marky Mark. If I was on that wind, I would have never let the wind. I would have karate chopped that wind.
We've got to do The Happening. How have we missed it?
Is it a rom-com?
How have we missed it? And that other one with Nicolas Cage. No. It's for Horror Virgin.
No, it's a horror movie.
I know, but this is romancing the pod.
I know. And I do like that after her snow thing, Hot Aiden runs out and he's like, I live in Memphis and it never snows there. I was like, see, this could have also been in Nashville.
Also, it does occasionally snow in Memphis, just like it occasionally snows in Nashville. Like,
yeah.
Pause it right there because I have watched 2 Christmas movies, Christmas in Graceland 1, Christmas in Graceland 2.
Oh my God, did they film it at Graceland in that crazy, crazy house? No. Oh, fuck. Well, never mind then.
Well, no, they film it in Memphis, air quotes. And they have so much snow in that movie that if you watched it if you're from anywhere in the Southeast, you would realize it would actually be a natural disaster for like one of our towns to get 3 feet of snow, what happens in Memphis. Yeah, like so many people would be dead because power would go out. We have no trucks, no salt. But yes, that whole film is like, wow, I can't believe we got 9 more inches of snow. I'd be like, that would be wild. And they fall in love. And they're like driving around in it. I'm like, it would be chaos.
let me put it in perspective, Paige. Last time we got any amount of snow, it was probably like 3 inches max, Mikey?
Yeah.
I had to walk to Kroger
I remember this.
3 times because we couldn't get anyone out to like
Because no one had
assault
plowed the
and
street.
like scrape the street. Yeah.
Yeah.
So like it was days before we could drive again. Like that's how not prepared for it we are.
That was the same as us. So last year when it happened, it snowed on the 210, which is a major freeway, and we don't
God.
have plows.
Yeah.
And I was on the 210 watching it snow, and like people just stopped their cars in the middle of the freeway to get out and take pictures. The full ass freeway. They were just like, what? And I was like slowly driving around them on the phone with my dad as it was happening. And I was just like, it's fully snowing and people are just walking on the freeway. My dad was like, what the fuck? Get home. It was crazy.
First off, that has to have been a very cool experience, but get your ass off the freeway or you're going to live there if it keeps snowing more because like you guys don't know how to handle it or couldn't handle it really, right?
No, I'll just stay inside this time. But I was a big fan of us having snow. I know we're going to have to prepare for it for the nuclear winter or whatever, but you know.
I love when it snows here. I go to the gas station. I go to the grocery store, buy a bunch of food, like sit in my house and like do nothing for 3 days except play in the snow with my dog. But now I have a 4x4. I have like a 4-wheel drive car. I could get out and do stuff.
You could. But why would you want to? Why wouldn't you just want to stay inside, drink hot cocoa, and look outside and be like, seems cold out there?
I always make chili cheese dogs when it snows as well. It's my tradition.
Hell yeah! That sounds delicious.
All right, we done with this movie or what?
No, we still have a movie to go.
We have a lot of movie left, actually.
Anyway, so then they go to the Hall of Christmas, which is basically a library of Christmas books. I do want access to all their holiday cookbooks because that looked legit as fuck.
From what I understand, the Hall of Christmas is a myth. Like, it never happened. Sorry.
You mean kind of like the Akashic Records?
I thought it was burned in that's what started the Dark Ages, right? When they burned the Hall of Christmas.
The Library of Alexander. This is where the writings ended up.
Yeah, that's got to be. They
There you
smuggled
go.
them out of the Library of Alexandria and moved them to the Hall of Christmas in Pasadena, Nashville.
It's gotta be that, or we're really just waiting for our space brothers to bring their ships down so we can create the Library of Christmas in Humule, San Diego.
Oh, man. The Space Brothers, they invented spaceflight.
Have you never seen a cloud page? Those are spaceships.
I like the ones that look like boobs.
The spaceships that look like boobs or the clouds that look like boobs?
They're one and the
Both.
same. Yeah.
I got it.
Yeah, Paige.
Watch the Love Is One doc on HBO. Like, it's nuts.
I love extrial chestrial.
Extra chestrials.
Extra chestrial?
Extra terrestrials.
Oh, okay.
Mikey likes them enhanced, is what he's saying, apparently.
I'm so sorry. I'm so dumb today.
We gotta keep moving because I'm like however many Sudafeds deep and I'm not gonna last.
I refuse to let our Santa boot camp recording be longer than our Psycho recording, guys.
Yeah.
Oh, we're going to be cutting it close.
Anyway, we reveal that Belle followed Aiden around the farmer's market until she found out he quit his job and he agreed to like work for her.
Yeah.
Because he worked at like a molecular gastronomy restaurant that was like super famous.
The Knife's Edge.
Knife's Edge. And at this point, I was like, oh, he's going to end up catering this shit. But they still don't do that for like another hour. Anyway.
But it is.
So
that's what happens.
It is. But what he does have a conversation with her that is actually one of the best pieces of writing in this movie, where he talks about like sometimes working in the service industry during the holiday feels like you're always celebrating other people's Christmas. And I was like, as a retail worker, no one has ever concisely explained that feeling so well, is the idea that you're celebrating other people's Christmases and never yours, almost like you're not a person.
But that is what like working retail is like.
That's why I got out.
Yeah, it's brutal. Like, I think retail is the hardest job I've ever worked.
Oh, yeah, hard, 100%.
Yeah.
Hashtag not my Christmas.
It's not.
Exactly, because you're working all Christmas.
Yeah, you're working all Christmas, and then people yell at you and say that you're ruining their Christmas, and then you don't get to have a full lunch break, and you sit on a cardboard box and eat a cold sandwich. It's so sad.
And try not to cry.
I cried many times.
While the person whose existence is robbing you of any sort of Christmas is yelling you about how you're ruining theirs.
You're ruining their Christmas, yes.
Yeah.
It is a hellish existence, and we are not nice enough, nor do we pay them well enough.
100, both. Anyway, they have to be there bright and early the next day for hair and makeup. And I do love, they get there the next day. She's like, you need a holiday makeover. The next morning, she's like, it's transformation. You don't even look like yourself. And I'm like, they just put red lipstick on her. That's all they did.
Every time someone walks out of the screen looking a certain way and coming back looking maybe 2% better than they did when they left the screen, and then we get a one shot of someone else whispering transformation. I lost my mind. I was like, if someone did a drinking game just on that, they wouldn't be able to drive at the end of this movie.
Jolly bots, roll out. I do love that she has her fix his makeup, which does net a very intimate, like looking into each other's eyes scene, but all
Yes.
she does is make his eyebrows white, and he's like, it's my grandpa, it's me. And I was like, no, dude, it's just you with eyebrow gel.
I laughed so hard, Paige, when he was having a moment where he thought maybe he was his granddad for a moment. I don't know. It is just wild. And I'll say this, I feel like most of the actors in this movie are fine. They're great. Like, whatever.
doing good.
It really is the script they are given to work with
Yes.
is hot fucking trash. And they, honestly, I think do a great job of committing to the trashness of it.
They do.
And that's why I think their performances don't bother me at all. because I was like, I don't know how I would deliver that line in a way that's believable, right?
I enjoyed this more than I enjoyed Princess Switch 2 Switched Again.
Oh, same.
So, like,
Yeah.
you know, they're doing great. But they invite a bunch of kids to the Santa cult house, and, like, they're all like, she's an elf, he's Santa, whatever. And they're, like, talking to the kids, and this one kid doesn't have a tree, so he just, like, gives away one of their trees, and everyone's fine with that. And as someone who's put up multiple Christmas trees this year because I was overambitious, no, you can't have my tree.
Paige, we have 4 trees set up right now at our house.
Yeah, and if someone wanted to take one, you'd be like, go fuck yourself, right?
I'd be like, Costco has some great trees. At Home also has a great selection. Y'all have a good night now. That's what I would say. My trees are flocked. I ain't giving none of that shit up.
Flock yourself.
I would say I've got dinner plans in a couple hours. I'm not going to be able to help you right now.
The truth is, we're trying to spend as much time with Peaches as possible between
Yeah, of
now and the
course.
inevitable end.
I wondered when we were going to get to there. It was either brother, cat. I mean, something was going to happen. I mean, you're pulling out all the stops today.
Hey, Mikey, you got to be nice because Peaches is an atheist. So,
Oh, my Peaches.
anyway, so Belle comes up to him after and is just like, because he's like, can we send this tree? And she's like, whatever you say, Santa. And then she's like, he's got a big heart. And it's like the joy, it's all about the joy. And he's very good at that.
Yeah.
And I was like,
Yeah.
I think Mrs. Claus wants his dick. Like, it's a lot.
Yeah, I mean, when she said he had a very big heart, we all understood that this is a Lifetime movie and she can't really say what she said in that scene. It's sort of like, instead of censoring the words, they change it. But like right after she says he has a very big heart, she's like, and he can really give a lot of joy. If and you catch my drift.
Yes.
I understand the coded language Mrs. Claus is using here.
He's got a long, thick stocking.
Yeah. I just got new
Bum,
stockings
bum, 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 bum,
for the
bum.
bedroom, not for the mantle. The mantle stockings have been up for weeks. Anyway, so her and Chris are talking about how toys are getting more complicated, which they only ever see him working on nutcrackers, and they're like, classic toys, like nutcrackers. I was like, no child wants a nutcracker.
If you bought a child in God's America 2023 a nutcracker, it would be kindling in your gas fireplace. Like, they would riot. I just can't imagine the kid would want a nutcracker. But this is...
Nutcracker, who's gonna crack that nut? Sorry.
But Paige, this is the final test to see if they are North Pole worthy
Right.
to work in the cult's like sweatshop. You can't really call it a sweatshop because it's in the North Pole, and it's very cold. But
Yeah. Well, and so they haven't gotten to that point yet, but he's working on a nutcracker here. And he's like,
that's right.
you know, not everybody's feeling like Christmas. People in Los Angeles have forgot the meaning of Christmas. And I was like, we never had it, bro.
Heathens, godless heathens who don't believe in Christmas.
We never had it. We shop for Christmas trees and shorts. It's a problem. Anyway, they dance for no reason, but it's very sweet because their chemistry is off the charts. I was like, I can see why they've been together for like 10,000 years, and I can't wait till he starts killing people with a hammer.
If you told me they had a December romance on the set of this movie, I would totally buy it. You know what I'm saying? They have a lot of chemistry. This is like...
So, fun fact, all their hotel rooms were in that house hotel courtyard area.
And those hotel rooms are real nice.
Are they? Oh, yeah. 'cause
Yeah,
you were
that's
in
where
there.
Todd had his one night stand.
I spent one night there, yeah.
Yeah, because the shack was taken.
So what you're saying is it's possible, Mikey,
What's possible?
that Chris and Rita Moreno were slapping boots during this movie?
I think everybody, weirder things have happened.
They do have a lot of chemistry. And I was like, you don't typically see a lot of like old married couple chemistry that's like sexy, like old sexy, you know, like they're still clearly having sexy. You know what I'm saying?
Yeah.
And I'm happy for them.
It's a Patricia Clarkson, Stanley Tucci vibe.
Oh,
Like,
yeah.
You know?
Yeah, absolutely.
Oh, Stanley Tucci should play Santa. I don't care where or when, just sometime.
The worst part about thinking about Santa and Mrs. Claus having sex is when they make Rudolph stand in the corner for mood lighting.
That's because he couldn't play the reindeer games.
That's a terrible movie. Okay, who do you think would be the sexiest Santa? Today's like list of male actors. Who do you think?
Kurt Russell.
Okay, yeah.
When they did it, I was here for it every step of the way.
Yeah, Christmas Chronicles, you're right.
Yeah.
I was thinking Christopher Maroney when I asked that question.
Chris Maloney?
Chris Maloney. Yeah, I was thinking Chris Maloney when I asked the question.
Only if he's a Santa that's an undercover cop.
But yeah, I feel like he would be a good one too. And then, of course, Ice-T.
Ice-T. I liked David Harbour too. I was a big fan of David Harbour as Santa.
Can't wait for Violent Night 2.
I can't wait. I might need to watch Violent Night 1 again this Christmas season. Anyway, so we cut to, she's in the library researching stuff for the Mancini event. He's looking for an obscure eggnog recipe. And all I kept thinking was like, my brother mixes eggnog with lighter fluid. And I was like, man, Better Off Dead. Also a great Christmas movie. So she finds this thing that's like, apparently in 1949, there was 3 days of snowfall in Los Angeles. So it's happened before. And it has happened before. It's like a thing.
It happened last year, right?
It happened last year, yeah.
Yeah.
And she tells him about the grilled cheese truck that she goes to on her way home. And I'm here to tell you that if it's the grilled cheese truck that I used to frequent in that part of town, nice. It's real good.
There used to be a grilled cheese truck that became a brick and mortar store, and I wonder if they were referencing that maybe because it's real good.
Oh, here in Nashville?
Yeah, the grilled cheesery.
We still have a grilled cheese truck, and it's just called the grilled cheese truck, and you can track it on an app online. And it's fucking delicious. It's really good.
Is this more of the Campbell soup propaganda you're trying to spew? Okay.
And that's the one I'm familiar with, but there's multiple grilled cheese trucks. That's a really common one. And almost anytime you go to some sort of food truckery, there's usually a grilled cheese truck, hot chicken, ramen, and tacos.
Yeah.
I do love that this is where he's like, okay, I'm going to make you some food. And he's like, because I went to Le Cordon Bleu, which I know we talked about this, I think, in the Simply Irresistible episode.
Yeah, that checks out.
Maybe. One of the ones that had food, because Le Cordon Bleu was a for-profit culinary school.
Yeah.
Now, there is an OG Le Cordon Bleu that was not, that kind of got folded into the brand later. And that was in Pasadena, but at this point in time, Le Cordon Bleu has been closed for many years. Yeah. Anyway, so I thought it was funny that he says it multiple times. He's like, well, that's where I went.
Isn't the real one in Paris?
There's a real one in Paris. That one's still around. And the one in Pasadena, Julia Childs helped open because she famously lived in and around Pasadena for parts of her life. And so she's like a local legend there. Anyway, but the modern version is a for-profit trade school that closed multiple years ago because they couldn't, they were overstating their employment rates.
Yeah, like most for-profit universities do. Yeah. Anyway,
he makes her what sounds great, goat cheese omelet with crispy bacon and hash browns. I was like, yes, breakfast for dinner, my favorite all the time. But this is also where he's like, I'm super into comfort food. I was like, me too. Those are my favorite kinds of restaurants. But Mrs. Claus is spying. And we cut to the next day where she has them doing Christmas yoga.
Yeah, I mean, she's having to do calisthenics, Paige.
Yeah.
Because this is first a fitness camp.
It's a boot camp.
Yeah.
Fitness cookie into my mouth.
Oh, boy.
That actually would have been a funny scene had this movie been well written. That was the fitness portion of the camp.
Hey, if you guys want to do a sequel, I volunteer my punch-up skills for free.
Yeah, I mean, I don't know that you should volunteer for free because, Paige, to punch up a script like this would be very hard work.
Well, it depends on how you want me to do it. Do you want it to be good or do you want it to be funny? Two different things.
No, let's do Mystery Science Theater 3000 and just send them the transcript and we'll just call it a night.
Yeah.
Yeah. Anyway, but this is where she's explaining to Aiden that it's 100 people, $1,000 per plate. And he's like, I could cater for thousands of people for that price. We could do a huge event. Why are we just doing this for this few people? And then she asks Belle about it. And Belle is like, no, there's no heart in this. And it's keeping people out. And it's it's not the real meaning of Christmas. But then they end up painting nutcrackers, which again, I was like, no kids want nutcrackers.
Right. But this is where they're testing their skills for can they be at the sweatshop in the North Pole?
Exactly. Can they be free labor?
Yeah, exactly.
But then she assigns them outfits based on their skill level. And she doesn't want to give up her outfit to Belle. Or no, Belle doesn't want to give up her outfit to Emily.
Right.
Like, she thinks she's not ready to be Mrs. Claus.
I thought it was funny that she was like, let me see if I can find the Grinch costume. I know we have one around here. And
Yeah,
Emily
yeah.
is like, no, I want to be Miss Santa Claus or whatever. Like,
No, I want to be a Christmas stripper on a 39.5-foot pole.
heck yeah.
Anyway, she's like, don't bring it back with any dirt on it. Okay, so they get on a bus. They go to the mall where she's going to have the event because she's like pointing it out. They go to a toy store and they just kind of like fan out and talk to the kids about what they want for Christmas. And she meets a little girl that she signs with about what her Christmas wish is. And her Christmas wish is to go to the event and meet Santa. And she's like, oh, it's just for like, you know, it's a private party for grown-ups.
Yeah, you're like not allowed to be there because the guy that Paige is talking about from
Rick
LA.
Caruso.
Yeah, is a dick. And he's like
Yep.
a douche. And he's an idiot. When he was like, what do I always say? Go big or go home? I was like,
Ho, ho, home.
he doesn't say ho ho home though.
Let me play Krampus advocate for a minute.
Okay.
If I'm having a private event and I'm paying for that,
Yeah.
I don't want to bring in the public.
Yeah, that's your choice.
Yeah, it's also like not even for his employees. It's for like potential investors of this project.
Yeah. And instead they're like, let's just make it a big Christmas party for the company, which is a way different style event.
Sure.
And if you look at the end of the movie, like the very last shot, there is one guy specifically who clearly is an investor walking around who looks pissed. In fact, Mikey, I'm pretty sure he looked just like you.
Yeah. I was like, what is this bullshit?
He looked like a very upset investor, like, who are these peons?
And you could tell he was from California because he had his sleeves rolled up.
Exactly.
When I just looked pissed off, I looked confused because when a car takes off flying above you with Mrs. Claus and Santa Claus,
Wait, they really did that stunt?
it's a toy car.
I know, Mikey. I know.
But yeah, the crane holding up the real car was like really huge. No, there was no crane.
Of
It was
course
just-
not.
They didn't even tell us to look up. You just see people wandering around.
Alternate Krampus theory.
Okay.
The little girl knows about the event,
Yes.
right? If it's truly a private event, why would she? Because they're setting it up in the middle of the mall to directly exclude people. So other people can't get in. It's just like tables in the middle of the Christmas thing that everyone else gets to enjoy where they just get to look in from the outside. It's deliberately meant to make them feel like outsiders,
Yeah.
which is a real thing they do.
Oh, well, there you go. But I mean,
Yeah.
it'd be weird to hold an event in a space where like retail shopping should be going on, right? Like if I
Yep.
was that person who like owned the store, I'd be like, hey, my customers can't get to the store. What the fuck are we doing right now?
So at the Grove, there's like a Bellagio fountain kind of thing. And then there's like a lawn
Right.
that they set stages up on. And so for like the tree lighting, they have like, I don't know, Mary J. Blige or somebody come up and be like, light the tree. And so that's where the VIP event happens. And they like rope it off for tables, but it's literally like in front of Nordstrom. So like if you're just like walking, like you can walk past it and then there's just like security guards like, keep it pushing, like don't stop, don't look at people. It's like wild. But yeah, anyway, you're right though. It is a very different event that she pitches to him.
Yeah.
I do think she pitches a better event,
Yeah.
but you know.
Yeah.
Anyway, so she's kind of bummed that she has to tell this little girl that she can't come. But then they go back to the Santa house and Aiden's on the phone. And this is where we find out that he got like an offer from a restaurant. And it's like something that he might really want to do, but it's complicated because he also has dreams of starting his own restaurant. And maybe this is not quite what he wanted to do. So they get out of wardrobe and come back out to the truck where he's wearing the like trademark red buffalo check with a truck that almost no one would drive in Los Angeles.
But it is a truck you would see in Nashville.
Yeah.
100%. Yeah, this movie would make sense in Nashville. But they decide to go to some Christmas tree auction thing in the train yards downtown. I have never heard of this. This might be made up for the movie. It might be real and I just don't know about it. But it seems fun.
I don't think it would be real. I mean, I don't know why people would need to like bid on Christmas trees. This just seems like a more expensive way to get a Christmas tree than like, you know, just going to buy one from a lot.
It's for charity.
Yeah, I've heard of Christmas tree auctions for charity.
Okay, is that what this is? It seemed like that was just like the gimmick of the shop.
Yeah, they never established that it's for charity. It seems like it is just the gimmick for the shop. So I don't know. But they pick a tree, they put it in the truck. He drives her back to her car, and he just like leans over that seat and is just like, so hey, do you want to come back and like help me decorate this? And I was like, yes, please.
Well, I mean, he admits in the next scene that he doesn't really have many decorations at all. So like clearly this was hey, do you want to come back and like continue the party in our pants?
Yeah. Mm-hmm. He did use copper cookie cutters though, and those are great Christmas tree decorations. I stand that 100.
They are super cute. I wish we had gotten a shot of it.
I do too, because I have one of my trees is all kitchen stuff and cookie cutters.
Oh, that's
because
cool.
I have from Sur La Table like years of cooking ornaments.
I'm sure.
And a lot of them are little like copper skillets and stuff. It's very fun.
That's cool.
Anyway, she's like, no, I have a call with the Mancini dude or whatever, so I got to get back to the office. So she goes back to the office and she tells her mom, she's like, I've got a call with that guy in 5, but like, I kind of have an idea. What if we change the, whole vibe of the party 2 weeks before it happens when you can't cancel contracts for vendors and shit, and change it.
I did love the audacity of like, hey, will you plan this $1,000 a plate 100-person dinner for me? Yes, I will. Thank you. Here's a big check to plan all that. And then her being like, hey, guy who wanted that very specific thing, how would you feel if we do the opposite of that? And he's just like, you know what? Let's do it. I feel like there's no way that call goes that way.
No, absolutely not.
Christmas magic.
Christmas magic. Well, he knows Miss Claus.
He
so
does.
This is all a setup.
Yes, I agree.
Yeah, this is the setup. So they go to Mrs. Claus's house the next day, and she's like, we just happen to have a grill that you should use for catering. Bye. I'm off on my little golf cart because I'm the little old lady from Pasadena driving away.
I love that they like position her as a bad driver, and the only time we see like anything happen to it, she's clearly not in the vehicle when she like runs into those trash cans.
Yep.
Because then it cuts back to the wide shot of all 3 of them in the golf cart. It clearly isn't moving and hasn't moved in a while.
Yes, yeah.
It's very funny. I also do love that they find a grill that like Belle or Mrs. Claus bought that morning and then had people throw hay on. Yeah.
And just put some straw on. Yeah. Hey, why? No horses. I don't know.
It just needs some tender love and care, Paige. Yeah. All you have to do is like get a like leaf blower and blow the hay away. You'll be fine.
Why is the warranty sticker still on this?
I can see the price tag, guys.
But they also enlist all their other fellow cult members to help them work the event for free.
Right. Well, this is the final test for them as well to see if they will work for free for the cult, right?
Yeah.
It all checks out.
So we cut to that night. She's in the library trying to find a dessert, and she's like, he wants a croquembouche, but that's no way to feed a crowd. And I was like, croquembouches literally only exist to feed crowds. Like, exclusively.
Yeah, no, I believe you. I just don't know what that is.
So a croquembouche is a bunch of cream puffs arranged into a tree, and then you do, like, spun sugar around it. But it's literally just a pile of cream puffs, so people are meant to, like, take one at a time. Like, you only make them for crowds. That's, like, the only time you
Like a finger food.
Yeah, it's the only time you would make one.
Yeah.
It's wild.
Okay.
Or people use them a lot for centerpieces, because they look very cool. Yeah. Anyway, he's going to teach her how to make Stollen, which I was like, hey, bring Stollen back. It was all over the Christmas markets when I was in Germany because it's their local Christmas baked good. That and this like cinnamon bundt cake bread thing that was amazing as well that I'm going to try and make. But Stollen is more like a cinnamon roll but in like a bread. It's real good. It usually has dried fruits in it.
Is cinnamon rolls not bread?
Cinnamon rolls are made with dough similar to bread. Yeah, basically. I would say cinnamon rolls are bread just sliced. Yeah. And Stollen usually has like fruits and stuff in it. You can do a bunch of different kinds. Paul Hollywood has a great recipe. But he's trying to teach her how to make it. And they're like kneading the bread. And he's like behind her. And I was like, yeah, girl.
It's very like the movie Ghost, but instead of pottery, it's dough.
It was bread.
Yeah.
It was bread. It was really hot. And then I think she maybe felt something. happening down below. And she was like, I've got to,
Something yeasty.
something yeasty. She's like, I got to go.
I do like that she got really defensive when she was like, I don't work with yeast.
Yeah, it was weird.
I was like, no one's accusing you of anything, lady. I'm just saying, like, get down for this sexy, like, dough off we're about to have.
Yeah, I just think maybe he was like tenting his apron a bit and she could feel it. And I was like, girl, let it happen. Like, look at him. Look at him.
Paige?
He has a truck
And shoulders.
and shoulders and so many plaid shirts and the perfect 5 o'clock shadow. And he wants to make a home cooking restaurant. Just stop fighting it.
Let it happen.
Let it happen. Say it. Santa. Pantsa Claus is coming.
Oh my God.
We've been talking about Santa Boot Camp way longer than the movie Santa Boot Camp.
That's true. Well, no, just an hour and 37 minutes.
That's way longer than the actual movie.
Only 10 minutes longer.
It literally is exactly 10 minutes longer. That's funny.
Anyway, so they have their last like class of Santa Boot Camp, and they're supposed to come back a week later with their final projects, but they're all working at her final project. So like,
Right.
whatever. And she pulls Belle aside to be like, I can see how good you and Chris are together. How do I make that happen with your hot chef?
Yeah.
And she's just like, you just gotta like speak from the heart. Tell him what's up.
You got to be vulnerable with them. It's actually good advice because,
Yeah.
it's right.
Nobody gives bad advice in this movie, weirdly enough, even though there's a Christmas cult in it. But so she just like full on walks up to him at lunch and is just like, later tonight, we're going on a fucking date. And he's like, okay, I guess we are. So,
Well, okay, hang on. We got to talk about how she builds it up because
sure.
it is very much like, hey, what are you doing at 8 o'clock tonight? Nothing. Let's go out. Okay, cool. Like a date? No. Like the best date in the world. And then cut to them eating a sandwich on a front lawn looking at the stars.
Eating Chinese food. She ordered Chinese food.
That's right.
Yes.
It is Chinese food.
Yeah.
I'm not saying it's not a great date. Is it the best date? Probably not.
No, this just serves to showcase more of the Carhartt pieces they bought to make him look good. And good job. Good job. That canvas jacket is working overtime. And they don't even kiss on this date. They're just like, yeah, we're talking about like the weather and like you should cater and blah, 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 blah.
I thought she was just buttering him up to get him to cater for free.
I mean, I think he would have done anything for her.
Same. Yeah.
But also, I liked that she was like dressing up for a hot date and she wore a weird turtleneck. I was like, girl, come on. Anyway.
Right?
Yeah. So we cut to the next day. They're all kind of starting to set up for the thing at the event that's happening the same night as their graduation. Or I guess earlier. That's what they say. They're like, the graduation was supposed to be Friday night, but what if we do it at the ceremony? Because everyone's going to be there. Okay, great. And she's like, well, what about Santa? And Belle is like, oh, I'll have Santa there for you. Don't worry about it. And then she's like, hey, did you put Aiden and I together on purpose? And she was like, why would I do that? And she's like, why do you do anything? And she's just like, wink, I might be Mrs. Claus.
Right.
And then Emily is just like, do you think she's Mrs. Claus? No, impossible. And then walks away. And everyone's commenting. They're like, it's weirdly cold. Like, it's unseasonably cold for Los Angeles this time of year. And she's like, weird, shrug. We cut to the event that night. She introduces her mom to Aiden, and her mom is like, very nice to meet you. I'm looking forward to your cooking. And she's like running everywhere. She's like, the redhead has mistletoe. I got to get to this thing, whatever. But Aiden kind of pulls her aside. Oh, this is the night before the event that they're setting up.
Yeah.
Aiden pulls her aside and is like, hey, the offer I got is for the Parker in New York, but it's like a huge career move. Like, I don't know. And he was like, well, what about us? Because he says, what about us? Not her.
Right.
So he's like, it's almost like he's saying, tell me not to go. Like,
Yes, I think he is saying that.
give me one reason to stay here.
Ooh, Tracy Chapman.
And I'll turn right back around. You can see me jingle.
Would you stay?
You know how easy it would be for me to stay at home to pretty much do my dream job instead of fly across the country to do also my dream job in a place I don't know. Even if that place is New York City, I'm going to stay at, quote, home, right?
So my version of this is like, hey, you could go work on Righteous Gemstones, or if you stay here, someone wants to fund your pilot.
Right.
Right? And so you stay for the pilot every time.
Yeah.
Even though that might not pan out. But like,
Right.
it's a risk, but you take it. So anyway, but this is 10 minutes before the end of the movie, and they're like, oh, I don't know. So she goes to cry behind the Christmas tree. The next night, everybody is there, the catering, and he's like, hey, we need to talk. And he's like, I tried to sleep on it. There's something I can't go to New York. I
Right.
want to give us a chance. I want to do my thing. It's great that they gave me that opportunity, but I want to pursue my own dreams or whatever. And she's like, okay. And he's like, don't change your mind. Like, okay, we're going to be together, but I have to go handle Mr. and Mrs. Claus because, of course, Belle and Chris are her Mr. and Mrs. Claus. And we find out that Belle recommended her in the first place because she's some sort of psychic, because she's also Mrs. Claus, who might be a supernatural being.
Christmas magic.
Christmas magic.
Right.
Cult magic.
It's definitely just her being a really good cult leader.
Yeah. And can we also talk about how that barbecue looks dry as fuck?
Yeah, we can, because it does.
It does.
Yeah.
I mean, it looked plastic. It may be plastic, but in general, it looked just dry. I was like, Aiden, I don't think that restaurant's gonna do well. Oh no.
I mean, but because Rita Moreno's, because Mrs. Claus knows everybody and she can like sort of urge the villain from, I don't know, every LA story that Paige has.
Yeah.
She can convince him to hire him as like the restaurateur or like the restaurant head chef or whatever.
Right.
It's gonna be fine.
It'll be fine. And as they leave in their convertible, she's like, oh, I did something special for you. And it starts snowing and the car flies off. They have a weird closed-mouthed kiss and they fly away in a convertible.
For the amount of chemistry the two of them have, the kiss really sucks.
It really sucks.
Yeah.
It looks so terrible on film.
It looks like one of them is thinking about somebody else and the other one is bored. Like no one is in it, is all I'm saying. You know what I'm saying?
Which is crazy for how much chemistry they had
I
the
know.
whole rest of the movie, where I was like, you have built this up so that these people should be borderline ripping each other's clothes off. And like, no.
Like, so, yeah. So I wonder, to me, because they do have so much chemistry, do you think that was like a directing thing? Like, it's Lifetime, guys. No one can open their mouth. And that was like the 20th take because they were like just trying so hard to not passionately rip each other's clothes off and go to town in front of those kids that were behind them.
This is one of my biggest complaints about all Lifetime, Hallmark, adjacent, whatever Christmas movies, is it's always weird closed mouth kisses. And I think they are directed to be that way because these are supposed to be very chaste and bland.
Yes,
which
they
is
are.
not my vibe.
Really, Paige? Really?
Can't believe it.
No, it's not. But yeah, I think it was directed, or the network had a note and forced them to do it that way. Yeah. But Santa and Mrs. Claus fly away in a convertible. And that's the movie.
And that's where I am. Right when it flies away,
Yep.
it zooms right in on me, the center of the screen.
That is exactly where you see Mikey. It's amazing.
Mm-hmm.
So having seen the movie, having talked about the movie, what do you guys think about Santa Boot Camp?
Having starred into the movie for 99 cents, you can bring me into your home.
Oh, yeah. Like, I do think everyone listening to my voice right now has 99 cents to buy this movie and get Santa Boot Camp 2 greenlit, where they have to change the heart of one investor that was at that party who was just really humbugging it up that looked just like Mikey.
They actually did have investor specific actors. I was not one of they wore suits.
Oh.
I think those parts were cut.
Okay, so having been around a lot of VC and private equity types, you're dressed way more like they are than people in suits would be.
100%.
Yeah.
They need the zipper fleeces. They're always in the zipper fleeces.
I will say, okay, well, objectively, I think it's funny that I'm in it, but I think when it comes to like Christmas movie, it does its job as like a Hallmark Lifetime Christmas movie where there is a bonkers ass Christmas plot.
Mm-hmm.
There is a romance with more chemistry than the average film like this.
I do think there is more chemistry than the average Lifetime movie, right?
Yes. Yeah.
Yeah, it's definitely something you can put on to decorate the house or like play Trivial Pursuit and, Christmas things like that.
And just like, honestly, clue in every time Rita Moreno's on the screen and watch her just be amazing.
Yep.
And then go back to decorating your tree or, like wrapping Christmas presents or whatever you're doing.
Yeah.
I don't think it's a good movie. I sort of enjoyed it just because it is sort of super low stakes and like nothing really sad's happening. You know, it's like the opposite of Last Christmas. It's just a almost boring Christmas movie that has a wildly crazy Christmas cult in it.
Yep.
But Paige, do you have any fun facts for us?
Pretty much no. Okay, so the only fun fact available is that this is the first heavily used ASL in a Lifetime Christmas movie, which it is notable.
It is. And they do.
And that's very cool that they did that.
It is very cool.
Pretty much every time Emily talks to her mom, it's in sign language. And the only time the mom doesn't speak in sign language and she actually speaks is when she meets Aiden.
Right.
Because Aiden doesn't speak ASL, you know, so she can communicate that way. She just is more fluent with sign language. So that's how she talks to her child, who we're to believe knows sign language very well, although she's way slower than her mom at signing.
Sure, but you know what? Whatever. I'm glad they made that choice. That was kind of fun.
No, it's cool. It's really cool and inclusive. Yeah.
It was cool.
And yeah, that's it for your fun facts. That's literally it.
Well, I have a fun fact.
Oh, Mikey's in it?
We did sort of go through all of our like fun facts as we were talking, but like I know that area super well. There's a coffee shop called Just Love Coffee that they keep blocking because their sign is very recognizable. So if you see when the Rita Moreno and Chris Kringle, her husband, are about to literally fly off in the car, the bus from Santa Bootcamp, like that take people to the Santa Bootcamp location, is blocking a bunch of signage. And that's because all of those stores have like hugely recognizable
Yes.
signage. And it's, if you know the space, like that bus is parked in a way that car could not drive away.
Amazing.
It had to fly away.
Also, fun fact, in that final scene, there's a barbecue place in that square, and
There
everybody
is.
was eating barbecue just watching us.
All right, well, let's talk a little bit about box office, and that is, I have no idea what this movie cost to make. I doubt it was more than $1 million, but I have no idea, really. It didn't go to theaters, so there's no box office information. So maybe we just jump to the romance scale.
Okay, romance scale, 1 to 10, how romantic we found it. Paige.
Honestly, I'm going to give this a 3 because their
Oh.
chemistry is like palpable.
Yeah, I mean, I do think the chemistry is palpable, so I understand the 3. I'm going to give it a 2 because the kiss was lackluster at best at the end.
I was oscillating between 3 and 2. I'm going to go on Todd's side here with the 2 because that kiss is just, it looks like aliens trying to kiss each other.
I think this might be the first time you guys have ever rated something lower than I have on the romance scale.
I think you're probably right. But yeah, I think had they done like a really good, like sexy kiss, that'd have pushed it to a 4 to me. Because they do have good chemistry. And so does Rita Moreno and her husband, Chris. You know, like they're great.
Yeah.
But anyway, that's our romance scale.
That's a romance scale.
Yes, it is. So this week, Mikey, you made us watch Santa Bootcamp. It's my turn next week, and I'm going to make you guys watch a brand new Christmas movie that came out this year featuring Jason Biggs, Brandy, and Heather Graham called Best Period Christmas Period Ever! ! Now, Mikey, I think you've seen this one.
I've watched it, and I'm excited you picked it because they install an arc reactor from
What?
Iron Man into a hot air balloon. No spoilers. I won't. This movie goes places.
That sounds like a pretty decent-sized spoiler right there.
Stuff happens in this film. The whole plot of this movie from front to back is 10 times more weird than Santa Bootcamp.
What? Okay, awesome. I can't wait.
That seems impossible, but I'm excited.
So your homework for next week is to watch Best Christmas Ever on Netflix with Heather Graham, Brandy, and Jason Biggs. It's going to be amazing. So, Mikey, you do have a review for us to read?
I do.
Hell yeah. Well, Mikey, whose review are you going to read this week?
Oliver David's dad.
Okay, what does Oliver David's dad have to say?
My favorite pod, Team Mikey.
Oh.
Okay.
Them's fighting words.
This is my favorite podcast. You inspired me to start my own.
Oh, that's awesome.
Thank you so much.
Congrats.
I love hearing your takes on rom-coms and who the real villains are in cinema.
Yeah.
Oh, also, I agreed with Mikey 98% of the time. You are all great, and I appreciate your efforts. 5 stars.
Well, thank you so much for that awesome 5-star review. Let me read you a comment that was left under our last Christmas episode from Jonathan. He said, "Hear me out. Horror sequel set next Christmas where she's haunted again. Each year, it gets more dangerous and possessive.
Ooh.
Like, where's my heart? Let me see my heart. I want it back. Anyway, Jonathan, thank you so much for that comment under the Spotify episode. If you want to have Mikey read your 5-star review or me read your awesome comment, do one of those things and we'll do it on the next episode. So, yeah, guys, if you like this power throuple that we have here on this podcast, make sure to check out our other podcast, The Horror Virgin. And that is the only other podcast that Mikey and I are on. But Paige gets around and she is on 2 other podcasts, Black Card Rehab and Cult Podcast. So guys, definitely check out those because they're amazing. If you want to follow us on social, we are at Romancing the Pod Show.
Yes.
On Instagram, and we are at something else on Twitter who I just have never taken the time to learn
It's just Romancing Pod Show because they have a character limit and it's show SHO like Showtime.
So guys, check that out as well. And if you want to follow us all individually, Paige is at Rampage Wesley everywhere, including TikTok, except for Twitter, where she is at Paige Wesley. Mikey is at MRandolph24, and I am at Todd J. Awesome everywhere. And guys, we got a P.O. box. So if you want to send us some love letters or whatever you might send to a P.O. box, it's actually not a P.O. box. It's like a regular street address. It's pretty awesome. It's 6688 Nolensville Road, number 108-34, Brentwood, Tennessee 37027. So send us some stuff.
Yeah.
That's going to be it for us, you guys, on Page.
I'm Mikey.
And I'm Todd.
And you complete us.
Santa Pletion.
Ooh.
Santa, step on me with your boot.
Nice.
Say it. Santa.
Santa.